32. I was born in Winter Haven, Florida. I grew up in Copeland. I grew up in a dysfunctional house. I grew up in violence. I don't know my father, never had a relationship with him, so I grew up with my sister and little brother's dad, which never showed no real affection to me. So I think I was always searching for that. I was searching for the approval of my father. My mother loved me dearly, but she was always working. Always seen drugs. I always fit in with misfits. I had people that loved me and was always around me, but I seem to always be drawn to the misfits of the world. I think it made me feel good. Like I felt like I was a part of something. I always felt like I could never amount to anything if I was around smart people or people that were doing good. I felt like I was always the outcast of that situation, which was not true, but it's just a lie I've been told my entire life, was that I'm not worth it, I'm not smart enough, I'm not gonna amount to anything. In 2007, July 2nd, I joined the Marine Corps. Thought it was a way out of the neighborhood. I was still lost. I mean, I was okay, but I think I was always still lost. As a kid, you know, I dabbled in marijuana, cocaine, and all these things, trying to fill the gap of trying to search for a feeling that I was always longing for, and I found it through drugs, and I found it through marijuana at first. So as I go through the Marine Corps, you know, I'm drinking. I have brothers, but I always felt distance. And when I came home in 2011, I came back to nothing. Like I've never been. I was never in school. I graduated high school, but I was never in college. I never had a job. No job traits in a sense of like going to a trade and having a career. So I went back to being lost. I went back to the same neighborhood, went back to my mother's house for not having anything. And at this time, she was already dealing with her own legal trouble, so she was never there. So it was just myself, my stepfather, and my little brother and sister. And it was just chaos. It was drug-filled. Pills came about at that time. It was kind of the height of that. So, you know, what do? You try to find something else. Marijuana's working, but it's not there, and I try Roxy's. You know, I'm still lost. I'm still searching for significance. I'm still searching for somebody to tell me that they're proud of me and that I'm doing okay, that I'm doing the right thing. And it seems like even if it was there, even if somebody did tell me, I just never noticed it because I was so self-absorbed and in my own victim mentality, like poor me. I think I was always just scared to find out who I really was, to find out if I ripped all these layers away, if I ripped the drugs away, if I just became myself, would people still love me? Would I love myself? One day I'm riding the train to my cousin's house and I was introduced to another dealer and found heroin and started shooting heroin. It was very quickly that it took everything from me. And at this point in time, I'm lost. I don't know what's gonna happen. And I reached out to a friend that got me off the needle at that point in time. So I come back home and I go back to my mother's house. I'm still lost. I'm still don't know who I am. My mom always tried to tell me that, you know, have faith in God. God's got something for you. And I could just never see that. Like, why, if God was so powerful and so loving, why would he allow the things that happened to me as a child? Why would I have to do these things that I do to survive? Like, why? If God was so powerful, where's he at? And I don't know, my mother always just tried to instill that, but I just wouldn't listen. I was so hard-headed. Drugs always have been just this stronghold on me. I would sweat it out, be sick, and do okay for a couple of days, but you know, it's almost like I stubbed my toe, and I gotta have drugs. I gotta have that sense of security because I don't know who I am as a sober person. So I jumped back into the dope, and man, it was a wild ride. It took me to dark places. I did things that I shouldn't have done. I stole. I hurt people. I pushed people away. You know, friends that were there that, you know, only wanted the best for me. Like I said, I never could. I don't know. I never felt like I was accepted. No matter, even if they tried, I pushed them away because I felt like they were better than me and I was worthless. I obsessed with suicide. Like, suicide was this. I don't think I was ever gonna do it, but I think I obsessed with it. Like, it was another high. Like, if I think about killing myself, if I just don't want to wake up, why am I still alive? Like, Lord, why don't you just take my life? Like, I'm worthless. I just want the dope to take my life. Like, please, because I've tried to hang myself and I've tried to cut my wrist. Like, I've tried to do these things and just never could never go all the way through with it. So I was hoping that one day I would just take a shot and I would never wake up. I was at my rock bottom. I had no more. I had burned all the bridges I had. I'd pushed all the people away. All I had left was drugs. That was it. And I think, and ultimately, that's what I wanted. I just wanted to be left alone. I just wanted to die. I didn't want nobody to know. I just wanted to be gone. I caught a grand theft charge. I fought the cases right when Irma came through. So I was fighting the case at this time. And February, I got put on probation. I lasted a couple months and violated. Went on a little run. This is the mugshots I had showed you. This was at the end of that run when they had come and got me. And I remember the guy I was with. I had him call my mother to bring me a white T-shirt. And I can always remember calling home, and my mother said, at least I know where you're at. And it never clicked until now I got sober, and I look back, I was like, man, that's a big thing. Like, my mother never felt that I was ever safe on outside. Like, and she never got sleep. She was always worrying that when I was locked up, that's when she felt peace. That's when she was okay. My cousins all went through Justin's place. So I was like, you know what, I can buy time. I can eat up probation, and I won't have to do, so cool, I'll reach out to Justin's place. And I reached out, didn't really think anything, didn't know if I was gonna get in. And I remember laying on my rack, and a guy come up that doesn't know me from Adam and was like, hey, I need to pray for you. At this time, I still don't know God. I still don't have nothing to do with God. And I was like, man, get away from me with that God stuff. Like, I'm good with it. And he kept pestering me. I was like, you know what, fine. Like, let's do this. And he does it. He prays. The next morning, I get called down to attorney-client, and they gave me the offer, to come into Justin's place plus probation and all these things. And I was like, man, that was it still never clicked that, God was there and God was doing these things. I was just like, oh, cool, I put the paper, I did this work. So I get out July 29th, 2018, and go straight. I get picked up and dropped off right at the shelter with a brown paper bag and some basketball shorts and a white T-shirt. I remember coming through the program and still being so angry and just not knowing and having this, I think, the not knowing who God was aspect. Like, people could tell you, hey, God loves you, God's all knowing, God's forgiving. But for me, it was like, I've never experienced God. Like, I want to know who God is. So I'm reading books, I'm reading the Bible, and I'm searching, and I still don't know who God is. Like, I think I have an idea, but I've never experienced Him. And you're reaching out, and I just want to know, and I'm getting frustrated, like I don't know. And I remember Mod 6, we go through a word relaunch, and I remember thinking, okay, great. I only have 2 more months. I'm gonna either be a PM or I'm gonna go to Naples. I'm gonna do something just to eat up this next couple months so I can graduate. And I remember walking in and being like, okay, God, if you're real, if you're this almighty, just let me know. Show me something. I'll give you everything. I'll give you the street. I'll give you all these things. Just show me who you are. I always tell people, man, I hear God when He speaks to me, not audibly, but I can hear it as a Red Sanford voice. Hey, dummy, I got something better. In that loving father way. And I remember just feeling like, hey, dummy, I told you I had something better for you. Just open your eyes. I'm here. I have you. And I remember coming out of the room on fire for God, just renewed and searching and knew who I was. Still broken, but I'm getting better. I know who to rely on. I know I'm loved. And I go through all these things, and I know God is calling me to help guys and help other people. And now I sit and I'm able to teach class. I'm able to show men that, inner healing, and we teach different subjects. I ended up teaching inner healing, which is forgiveness and rejection and broken bridges. All these things that I held on to for so long as a kid, that I had searched for because I was putting on masks because I was around different people. To know today that I step out in freedom, and yeah, there's still stuff that comes up and I still got to bring it to God, but I know how to do it now. I have the tools. And just like I tell my men, God can give us all the tools we want, but if I leave them in the bag, I'm not a carpenter. I have to be able to step through them. And today, to be able for God to give me that gift, that to speak through me, man. It's on another. It's something that I walk away from today, and I know I'm called to do these things. Today I have a purpose. Today I wake up and I'm like, good, I'm alive. I'm glad I didn't take my life. I'm glad that shot didn't kill me. I'm glad that I have these things. Today I have a relationship with my mother. Today I have a relationship with my sister that was all but destroyed because of our addictions on both ends. Today I celebrated 2 years on the 29th, man. My sister is celebrating a year coming up. It's amazing. My mother today has her kids back. I have a relationship with my little brother that I just thought was gone. Man, it's an amazing feeling to be able to stand here and say, you know what, God saved my life. Justin's place saved my life. I did it all on a whim. I did it all on just, you know what, screw it, I got nothing else. It's either go back to the streets or I got to do something. To be able to stand here and say, I'm glad I walked through that door. I'm glad that God opened that door. I'm glad that I took them steps of faith. I'm glad that I didn't give up when so many times before I would have just ran from what was in front of me. That today, that fear of getting sober and knowing who I was or who I am as a sober person, I'm glad I did it. I know who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I don't have to put on a mask on to be in front of somebody. The fear of, I'm not going to be liked because, the true Wayne's going to come out. And to be loved for who I am today and not just because of what I have. Man, and to be able to reach out and grab somebody's hand and say, man, look, I was in that same boat. I know what you're going through. Let me help you. Let me show you there's a better life than what we've chose before.